Hey guys, welcome back. Have you guys seen the movie The Big Short? Came out in 2015. It's got all the actors in it, and it's about the housing market collapse. Dude, that movie reminds me a lot of XRP. If they made a movie about XRP, it would be just like The Big Short. The whole time I was watching it, I was in awe because it's all in there. Everything about the world, how it works, it's all in there. Before we get into that, I just heard that the XRPs went from 20 to open a wallet to a 10-2. I'm not sure the details, but this is good for us. This means that the elites want all these idle XRPs once they do the buyback. So in the whole movie, everything was in there. Fraud, government fraud, SEC was in there, banking elites were in there, and how they manipulate the whole economy. And the whole time, the characters that were betting short, they didn't get why they kept losing. They could not get why they kept losing the money, because it was a sure thing to them, right? But you got to understand, these elites, they are playing chess again on multiple chessboards, playing chess games all at the same time. Alright, they have a move for everything. So the whole time they kept losing money. Every year I'm paying back the banks for their short bets. But if you wait till the end, that's when you make your money. And this is just like XRP. If you wait till the end, that's where we're gonna make our money. And they're gonna make a movie about XRP. I don't know what they're gonna call it, but it'll be like The Big Short. And you're gonna relate because everything that we know about the world is gonna be in that movie too, and how highly suppressed it was, or it is. There was one part of that movie too where Baum was saying there was fraud in America, in government, in banking, in religion, in food, everything. And that's exactly how it is. Now they made this movie. The elites made this movie. I don't think it's the good guys making a movie. This is just the elites throwing it in your face, and you still won't believe it. They're telling you the truth and you still don't believe it. Towards the end, I started thinking too, who benefited of this? Right? Because the plan, and I'll show you a quote that they left at the end of the movie here on this end of this video. But it's a quote, and it's exactly what they planned. This wasn't by accident. And they still benefited from the housing market because somebody had to buy them up. Who bought all these houses for cheap? Somebody bought up all these houses, and it probably benefits the own nothing and be happy agenda, where they're buying all the houses and they're gonna own all the houses. But I was laughing at one part when they were saying in the movie, someone needs to go to jail. I'm like, I was laughing because the only person that would go to jail is a scapegoat. Because there is no big names going to jail ever. Just like at the end of the movie when they had that one person go to jail and it wasn't even related, while all the other guys got away scot-free. This is just like real life, exactly what happened. The American taxpayers were always the target. They were the target because they were going to pay for it anyway. So this is how they took money from the world. This is how the elites took money from the world. Just like you're taking money now from the world with this pandemic, with these multi-billion-dollar vaccines, masks, and PCR testing kits. That's how they're making their money. And these stock markets for all these like Pfizer and Moderna, they're all skyrocketing. That's how they make their money. They know exactly what they need to do. So they tell you the truth in movies. They knew that the people's taxes were going to bail out the banks from the beginning. You know, it's crazy if you didn't notice. If you haven't seen the movie, go watch it first before you finish the rest of this video. But if you're gonna watch it anyway later on, and you don't mind having some spoilers, that's fine. But Brad Pitt was in this movie, and he represented us, the people, because he was kind of awake. He worked in the banks, and he stopped working in the banks because of all the fraud and corruption. And so he went organic. He's promoting the farms, growing your own vegetables and food. He still has connections in the bank, but he doesn't like to work there anymore. And in one scene, he was wearing a mask going down the escalator, and someone else is also wearing a mask, I think. This was released in 2015, which means it was probably created before then, like 2010 or 11. So they had Brad Pitt wearing a mask going down the elevator. So they made this movie. And what's crazy too is, like, do these actors know what really went on during this time and how these elites are involved? They gotta be. You can't just be here memorizing lines and doing this movie. They have to know. They have to know that what they're saying is actually true. They can't just be saying it's a script and someone wrote it. So they tell you everything in movies because they own all the movies, and nothing happens. Nothing will happen. That's how it works. And this relates to XRP because there's a one scene where the Morgan Stanley called them back when the market started to crash, and they're gonna buy back their shorts. And I was like, well, this is pretty similar with XRP. They're gonna buy back the XRP before it skyrockets. And that made me smile a little bit in that scene. So these movies and all these movies, the history, there's patterns in what these elites do. It's the same pattern they always do. And you gotta pay attention to these patterns. And this is exactly what is happening now with XRP. This was 2008 for this. In 2001, there was that World Trade Center. But pay attention to these patterns, and they do the same things to take the money. I laughed at another scene where one of the characters said they were going to go to the news outlets and let everyone know. Those two guys, I guess, working from their basement or whatever. But they were going to tell all the news about the fraud going on. I was laughing because they own the news, right? So there's no way that nothing will happen. And the credit rating and how they were able to get credit ratings on this prepackaged, I guess they call it CDOs, collateral something. But the ratings company would give them AAA ratings, and they would sell these packages even though the packages were shit. And that made perfect sense because they're all in it together. All the fraud, from government to banking to SEC regulators to news, it's all there. We are all, the guy that played Batman, I forgot his name on that movie, but he also played in Ford versus Ferrari, the driver. But he represents all of us speculating. We are all speculating just like he is. Everybody laughs at you for a couple of years. Everybody makes fun of you, saying, oh, the market cap will never go up that high. They teach you that so they know that you would never buy it. That's why they teach you about the market cap, because XRP will be totally different from the market cap. It's gonna be used entirely differently than market cap. So that's why they taught you all that, and they taught you all these charts and numbers. But they're gonna flip it because it's very important that you don't follow it and you don't believe that. So we're all this Batman guy looking at the charts and knowing about XRP, right? We all know about XRP, just like, and then we talk others into it. So that he talked the other people into this short, and they all try to buy into it. So we're all the XRP community. We're all the shorters. Same in this movie. And the whole time, again in the movie, they couldn't figure out why they weren't making money from the bonds. They couldn't figure it out. But the elites knew they were shorting, and so they countered it. They countered it and countered it and countered it, and they wouldn't. They just kept paying and wanted them to quit. Just like XRP, they want you to quit, and then at the last minute, that's when they do the buyback. That's when they do the buyback offer, last minute. And when they called him back after a week, he was like, "You can't call me back after a week." And they blamed it. All the banks blamed it on system crashes, system failures, power outage, servers going haywire, whatever it was. Same excuses. And they told you about the SEC and the pool scene pretty much. But they minimize their staff, and they're not really going after anybody, because they're not going to do that unless the banker elites want them to. Right? They work for these billionaires. So if you watch the movie, pay attention, because I was at the edge of my seat the whole movie, because it was so interesting, and I could see right through everything. Before, in 2010 years ago, whatever, I would have been watching this and I would have been bored to death. Bored. Because I didn't understand a thing going on in the movie. Except I knew that the housing market collapsed and it was the bankers had a mistake and all these things that normal sheeple would believe. But now you can see through this movie, everything is there. They're telling you the truth. It's a fraudulent system. The whole thing is fraudulent, run by banks. Okay, the banks won. So I guess Michael Burry was the Batman character. And read this on the phone. It says Michael Burry contacted the government several times to see if anyone wanted to interview him to find out if he knew the system would collapse years before anyone else. This is us, guys. This is you and I, everybody else in the XRP community. No one ever returned his calls, to our surprise, right? No one returned his calls from the government or any entities or any news. But he was audited 4 times and questioned by the FBI, right? So now the elites threw the FBI and the IRS at him, because that's what they do. So you can see from this that, look, the truth is right here. So Michael Burry knew what was coming because he was pretty smart. I won't say he's a sheep, but he was smart at detecting these things from the information. Maybe even outside the box, but he's not awake like us. Based on the movie, they didn't show that he was awake. Maybe they eluded that part, but maybe he was actually. And you know what, guys? If he was awake though, he would have never contacted the FBI or contacted any mainstream outlets. This is the final quote from the movie I will leave with you today. When the dust settled from the collapse, $5 trillion in pension money, real estate value, 401k, savings, and bonds had disappeared. 8 million people lost their jobs and 6 million lost their homes. And that was just in the USA. So this was the plan all along, from the beginning. Right here, they're telling you this is the plan. And they also benefited by being bailout from the people, right? From the taxes. And then they probably also bought back all the houses at the bottom price. Maybe they're A and B teams, right? The B team probably bought all the houses at the cheap prices. So all that is all planned, and they tell you in movies. And what's happening now in the world is the same thing. It's going to be a movie about this pandemic, and then there's going to be a movie about us, the XRP community. And that's all I got for you guys today. Go watch it if you haven't seen it, or watch it again and pay attention. All right, guys. Thanks. See ya. Bye.